Hey y'all, what's up? JamiThatsMe here. Welcome back. Listen, I got to talk about Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip episode 3. All right. We are here. It's episode 3. And just know for those guys that are wondering, Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip can be found on Peacock. All right. Or whatever hidden website you might be familiar with. But either way, okay, it comes out on every Thursday from my understanding. But I think they may drop it like in the wee hours of the morning type thing. Okay. So, yeah. So by the time y'all go to work the next day, girl, it'll probably be ready for y'all to watch. But anywho, girl, let's get into Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip episode 3 because I really feel like Candiace went the fuck off on Gizelle and Miss Porsha. But let's get into it. So Marisol and Leah, y'all already saw episode 2. At the end of the episode where Marisol pretty much called out Leah because she was being bored by Alexia telling her story regarding her and her ex-husband. Or, well, he wasn't her ex-husband, but he was her husband that she separated from that passed away. Okay. So that what was going on. And Miss Leah, you know, she really was getting bored. She was tired of Alexia. And I really don't understand what's going on with Leah. Leah is giving just a little bit that, she only came for the check as everybody else does, but she's making it a bit more obvious. You know what I'm saying? She's kind of like, ugh. Do I have to engage with the ladies? Like, what else is going on? See, Leah really only come around to fuck shit up. Like, for real, for real. But, hey, she's here, okay? She tries to deflect and tell Marisol, don't be sitting up here coming for me because you the one that's in a bad mood because your stomach hurt, okay? Yeah, because you be over there drinking too much motherfucking liquor. You need to worry about what's going on over there in your cup and in your area. Don't be trying to come over here around with what I got going on, period, girl. Shut up talking to me. So, that's how she's feeling, all right? So Marisol is just like, this bitch is crazy. And she's projecting. That's what it's really giving. And I'm like, but she not necessarily projecting to me when she said that because Marisol, you do drink too much. And yeah, you drink like 365, like every single day you got a drink in your hand. You don't really do water. At some point, Marisol, with your older age, like I can see that likely becoming a problem as you continue to get older. You having this stomach ulcer, I don't even know if liqueur can, if the alcohol and stuff can do that. I would want to believe that it can. And that could be why your ex got an ulcer because you be sitting up there drinking too much, girl. It could be. All right. But, I don't think that Miss Girl was lying. Deflecting, yes. You know what I'm saying? Well, she didn't say that she was lying, but she was projecting, okay? She could have been deflecting, but projecting, no. She was right on that one. Now, Gizelle tells Leah if she shares a story with her and she calls her bored, if she were to share a story with Leah and Leah turned around and called her bored, she says, that's just not cool. And I'm like... But Gizelle... You remember how you treated Dr. Wendy? That wasn't cool. You know what I'm saying? Just like how you kind of be coming for Wendy and feeling a way about Wendy, trying to isolate Wendy, all this other whatever, whoop, whoop, whoop. That's not cool. So shut up. All right. Now, Leah says, okay, my bad. I'm sorry, girl. I was rude. I was being disrespectful as hell. Oops, my bad. Sorry. Okay. Hilarious. So Porsha thinks Leah should leave because she ain't trying to get to know nobody. And I'm like, well, give her a few days. Like, girl, you acting like y'all been there for a whole week already. Girl, it's barely been 48 hours. I'm sure, like, give it a second. Give Leah some time. Okay. Give her a second. Marisol learns that she might have an ulcer. She goes over, she talks to the doctor. And that's when she learns she might have an ulcer, okay? Now, from the previews, it looks like Marisol might be having some more serious issues going on because it looks like we're going to see her either in a hospital bed or her being rolled into the ambulance. It's one of the two, but something's going to be going on with her that I think is going to be much more serious, and I'm wondering if she's going to be able to finish out the girls' trip or if she's going to have to go back sooner, you know what I'm saying, to America, or if most of her stay is going to be her in the hospital. But I feel like the ladies are only there for like 2 weeks, and this is like the second day, I think. So, yeah, that's what I'm wondering. But let's keep going. So Candiace, okay. Hold on, let me go back. Did I skip too far down? Okay, no, I didn't. All right, great. So Candiace performs for Lady Boy, okay? Y'all know it was Candiace's night, and she had these questions and things for the ladies. And I will say, I do think that Candiace's whole celebration thing was lackluster just a bit to me. I think the highlight of her activity was her performance, okay? She went around passing out little note cards and giving people their names or whatever like that. That was shady. And then that was the shady game, because they always got to play a shady game, child. And then it was time for her to have the lady boys come out, dance, do their thing. And lady boys, for the people that have not seen episode 1 and 2 and stuff, or the reviews, lady boys are like men in drag, but overseas in Thailand they call them lady boys versus like drag queens, men in drag, all of that stuff. Okay, so that's what they call them. So they came out, they performed, somebody slipped and fell on the floor, and I was like, embarrassing. Like, girl, it's giving embarrassing is what it's giving. And they were over there performing to Drive Back. Come back. Can't nobody do it like that. So that's Miss Candice over there singing. The lip syncing was not that great to me. The audio was playing. It was at one point where the audio stopped and Candice kept doing her routine. I know that's right. Just act like, hey, you still got to do your part even when the audio and stuff is messing up. But they press play again and all of that. So Candice did her performance. Girl, you got Gizelle and Porsha over there. I keep wanting to say Gizelle and Robyn, but it's Gizelle and Porsha over there in the confessional hating like hoes. Okay, you over here pressed Porsha. We still waiting on the rest of the album or whatever you finna drop for Flatline, because it's giving that music career instead of being Flatline, while you over here trying to worry about Miss Candice and that performance. And Gizelle, what else do you have going on? Because it seems like everything that you got has flatlined in general. Okay, let's be very clear about that. But anyway, girl, so they, pretty much hating everybody else. All the other white ladies were just enjoying it. They thought that it was so great. Now, my thing is this. Somebody got in the comments and felt the way about Candice becoming more friends with the white girls than she is with the black girls. First of all, baby, who else is there? If she already has issues with Gizelle and Porsha already had whatever she had with Candice, like, who else is left for her to have a conversation with? The white bitches. Like, she ain't got no choice but to bond with them. Now, if they had some other black women on the show, I'm sure Candice would have went in their direction as well. You know what I'm saying? And then tried to say, oh, I wonder if her fans are going to hold her to task or label her as colorist or maybe even racist. Oh, my God. You skipped over the fact that Gizelle just told these ladies not to speak in their native language. Okay? You just sat up there and overlooked the fact that Gizelle told these ladies they cannot speak a language that is theirs. Okay, in her presence or whatever the case is. You skipped over all of that just to hop over to have a conversation to try and condemn Candice when Candice has every right to want to bond with other ladies outside of them. Gizelle has lied on this lady's husband and done a countless other of things that Candice is privy to. Plus, she already knows her. 2, Porsha stuck her nose in some business that really didn't have nothing to do with her. It's one thing to discuss the fight, but then it's another to sit up there and add your 2 cents in, talking about she sued Monique to pay her house off or whatever, pay her mama house or whatever. Like, you doing all that extraness that you over there adding on all because you friends with Monique and you don't even know this lady for real. You over there just jumping, picking a side or whatever. So you over there throwing shade before Porsha can even get in the shade room to throw shade at your ass. Okay, so yeah, she don't really know how to take Miss Porsha. On top of that, Miss Porsha, I felt, was already gonna be on some bullshit anyway, because everybody kept saying, oh my God, Porsha and Candice, they're gonna clash. Oh my God. And like, you make no sense. Okay, you make no sense for the comment that you put down. I have to be very honest with you. Okay, so no, ma'am, who else is there left for her to bond with? And then you come on the trip, as Porsha said, the reason why she felt Leah need to go, because Leah wasn't bonding with nobody else. So, they all came together so they could bond. Like, what else? Like, I mean, Porsha so far up Giselle's ass and vice versa. Like, I mean, when her and Candice talk, they talk. They do what they do, but Porsha gonna feel away even if it wasn't Candice asking the questions. It could have been Leah, it could have been anybody else. She would have felt a way because Porsha wants to portray a certain image to the people. Okay, and that image is that she ain't steal nobody husband or whatever the case is. Okay, she also said, I saw her do it was like I saw a snippet from an article where Porsha pretty much said that leaving Real Housewives of Atlanta had already been a part of her plans, It had so when she left, it had nothing to do with running away from the backlash. No, it had everything to do with running away from the backlash. Okay, just because you had thoughts and plans of leaving does not mean that you meant to leave in that moment. You chose that moment for you to walk away. Let's be very clear about that. I'm sure Candy has thought about when she leaves Housewives. I'm sure Kenya has, and all of the other ladies have thought about when they leave Housewives or leaving Housewives or whatever the case is. All right, but you really pulled that trigger, girl, because they was holding out on your contract to figure out what the hell was going on, and then you came out and said that you were not coming back. Okay, so let's be very clear about that, girl. You be sitting up here fibbing and fobbing and all this other shit you be doing. But anyway, I had to go ahead and rag and tag Porsha and that person. But anyway, let's keep going. So Gizelle admits on the ride home that Candice is a responder, not an initiator. Baby, I'm glad that you said that, because see, she's still bothered by, I think she was bothered by the shade that Porsha had at her event when she was coming at Miss Porsha, that Candice had at her event when she was coming for Porsha. So it was something about that. But the story is, Gizelle says that Candice is a responder and not an initiator. And I'm glad that you said that. And I want your ass to forever remember that. Okay. Just like you tried to sit up there and say that girl's a disaster on Twitter and she's doing this and she's doing that. Like, Candice, you bring these things on yourself because you be saying this and that and da. You begin stuff started and don't know why people come at you. And Candice told you that she be responding and you were like, no, she doesn't. But then you get in the confessional and bust your own damn bubble, talk about this girl be responding instead of initiating. Get your stuff together. All right. So Porsha thinks Candice did all of this to comfort her. And I'm like, Porsha, I want you to reach far up your ass and get your head out of it, because, girl, let's not make this all about you. She gave everybody a little something. You really bother over she take a man? You really bother over the fact that she asked you a question? It's best that she had come to you and asked you versus going around and just continuing to spread whatever rumor. Okay? So, and you knew you was going to have to answer it. First of all, you knew Bravo wasn't going to let you on their cameras, girl. And they not question you about she take a man? Come on now. Like, Candice did that to everybody, okay? What else? Leah is called out about being bored and asking them to get drunk. Okay. Leah says it's because Marisol hits her up and says that she respects her sobriety but wishes she would drink. Okay. So she was called out about why she had sat up there and said that everybody was bored, and her being a person that is in her sobriety, why would she try to force, drinking on everybody else or whatever like that? And she was like, well, Marisol, Marisol called me before we even got here, and Marisol said that she respects my sobriety or whatever, but she wishes that I was going to be drinking. And it's like, Leah, I do like Leah though, I will say, but I do not like you always having that as a go-to. And like, I just, like, you be heavy deflecting, and it's irritating. You be heavy deflecting. Like, girl, we talking about you right now. And instead of you focusing on your errors and the ways that you have, your own, bad ways, you want to sit up there and bring other people into it and talk about Marisol, her calling you before the damn trip. And you want to bring that into this situation when it was a conversation y'all had on American soil. Like, I feel like you kind of doing a little too much. Okay. What else? Porsha. That's when kind of Porsha and Leah's drama started to begin. They had a little light exchange of words, and then Leah ended up walking off. So Candice goes off on them, harping on nothing, because first of all, she was telling Leah, like, Leah, girl, don't leave. Don't make them hoes. Like, don't let them bully you. Like, don't let them make you want to walk out. Leah said, girl, no, I'm finna have me a break. Like, I need some air. I need to go do this. I need to go do that. So she walks off, and then Candice kind of goes off on them, and she's like, y'all be sitting up here harping over nothing. Like, this girl literally sat up here and fucking apologized. Okay, y'all ain't nothing but a bunch of fucking bullies. I said, oh, Candice is going off on you guys, and I'm here for it. Candice then talks about having her own anxiety. She's like, why y'all jumping down her throat? Because she's really sharing how she's feeling. Whereas a person like me that has anxiety, I'm bottling everything in and I'm losing my fucking mind. Okay, to be honest with you. All right, so I feel like y'all should give her a pass and at least appreciate the fact that she's being open and sharing with y'all what her thoughts are. Right. So when she starts, getting a bit upset and like getting ready to cry, Porsha comes over to try to console her. Porsha tells her, you're having anxiety about being around people that you don't know. But when Porsha heard what Candice said, and Candice said she was having anxiety about being here and all this other stuff, plus other things she got going on that she didn't want to expose to them at the time, once Porsha heard everything Candiace said, Porsha said, so you're having anxiety about being here and being around people that you don't know? Well, that's funny because you had the shadiest event of everybody. I'm like, bitch, the events just got started. Like, we just getting started doing stuff. Okay, the shadiest, I guess you right, girl. You knew it was coming. So I said, Porsha just mad that she trying to leave the narrative behind and it ain't going no fucking where, girl. That narrative gonna follow you for a minute, no matter how much you try to switch it, change it, rearrange it, okay? And she mad that Candiace brought it up, all right? Now, Candiace says she was having a petty, shady game. Porsha says, so that's what you do to feel comfortable by making other people feel uncomfortable or whatever. And then Candiace says, girl, listen, okay, because BIT, I'm in my feelings right now. I got my own bullshit going on. Girl, if you feel like I said or did whatever, girl, I apologize, all right? So Porsha says, Porsha says that, no, you were being shady, but it's okay. It's okay. Well, it's not okay, Porsha, because you brought it up. And instead of you going over to do what you said you was going to do, which was to console her, you used that moment and flipped it and wanted to bring up what was really bothering you to make the moment more so about you than it, versus it being about Candiace in that moment. And then when she apologized to you, you say no as though you don't accept the apology and then turn around and call the girl shady and then says it's okay. Yikes. But Candiace ate your ass up though. Okay. So Candiace goes off on Porsha and tells her that Candiace says something to her like, well, see, you're coming over here to me and you're projecting onto me because Porsha was trying to tell Candiace how she would handle anxiety. And Porsha was like, that's you. That's how you would handle it. You can't come over here and try and project onto me. You know what I'm saying? How I should feel when it comes to my anxiety or whatever. So Porsha was like, buzzword. Candiace said buzzword. Well, I was. She says project. That doesn't, I think Porsha said it doesn't apply here or something like that. And Candiace tells her, one BITCH girl, it's not a buzzword, okay? And here's another thing. You brought your ass over here acting like you was finna get ready to console me or whatever the case is, but what you ended up doing was gaslighting me by insulting me and instead of comforting me or whatever, you walk off or whatever. So basically, she says, instead of comforting me, you walk away like you the victim. Like BIT, you came over here gaslighting me by insulting me, acting like you're comforting me, but instead you get up, you walk away, and you're the one, as though you're the victim in this situation. Like, y'all just gotta go watch it. And I know I'm not relaying it properly, but listen, Miss Candiace ate Porsha ass up, okay? Porsha really didn't know how to take Candiace, because it's like, I feel like Miss Porsha probably would have tried to like get a little physical with you, okay? But I feel like she's trying so hard to turn over this new leaf and make people believe that she's changed and all of this stuff, and probably even made a bet with her husband to not get too rowdy that, she kind of like just was like, okay, whatever, and walk off and da-da-da-da-da. Now, I actually appreciate that, Porsha, versus y'all getting physical and all that other little extra stuff, you know what I'm saying? So, girl, y'all just walk off, right? So, Porsha says, I did come over there to comfort you for real, right? And she says, Candiace they were talking. So Porsha came back, she sat down, they were talking, and Candiace started talking about her anxiety. Porsha says, I have anxiety too, right? But I'm like, but Porsha, instead of you using that moment to bond with her, as you've been so focused on talking about Leah not bonding with people, instead of you using that moment to relate and bond with her, you use that moment to not make it about what she was going through, and you coming over there to comfort her. You made it more so about what she did to you, make it by asking you questions that you really did not want to answer. Basically, she was asking questions that people wanted to know that you weren't willing to answer. For real. Let's be very clear about that. All right, you could have bonded with her, and then later on you could have pulled her to the side, or not, because y'all do everything in front of everybody. But you could have had that moment and then came back around and told her like, hey, you did something that I really don't like and don't appreciate. This is what you did, XYZ. Like, that's how that could have went. But whatever. The end result is Porsha definitely ended up walking off for good, because she feels like she can't talk to Candiace until she's over whatever issue she has with her. I hear her mumble that to Gizelle. She says, I can't talk to her. I can't talk to her until she's over whatever issue she got with me. I'm like, BITCH, that girl ain't got no fucking issue with you. You have the issue with her. Okay, and because the fans are likely saying, "Oh, you and Candiace gonna bump heads," I feel like you are making sure that you create enough situations to where y'all have a little friction, because you know it's gonna make good camera time and it's gonna be good for the fans to watch. Okay, so I feel like you're giving a little bit of producing yourself. Okay. Gizelle brings up during lunch the Heather and Whitney pinky promise to as far as saying that you guys pinky promise to not bring your business on camera or bring your issues on camera. And I'm like, Gizelle, I really feel like that's a lie, because I'm over here like, who told you that? I feel like, who said that? Like, girl, you lied. You said that. The goal was for you to bring up the pinky promise moment. That's what the producers wanted you to do. And you just said something. Like, Gizelle is very, very good at this producer game. And people just really go along. But let's keep going, all right? So, basically, the pinky promise between Heather and Whitney after Heather put them tracks in was for them to move forward, okay? To agree to move forward and kind of try to lead the things in the past, right? Well, Leah calls out Whitney, and I actually loved this because y'all know Whitney is now on my bad side. I'm not gonna lie. Whitney's on my bad side, so whenever Leah takes a shot at her, I enjoy. So Leah calls Whitney out for talking shit about Heather, but I also feel like, as she should, because you over here being friends with somebody that's talking shit about you, like, yeah, let her know. So Whitney finally left the Mormon church is what we learned. She says that it was a struggle, but it seems like she is holding it against Heather because Heather is actually writing a book. And Whitney is like, so how you going to be sitting up here writing a book about being a bad Mormon or whatever the case is, but you ain't even lead a Mormon church? Like, girl, that's a country. Like, that's hypocritical, contradictory. Like, it's all kind of things going on with that, right? So Whitney said that she removed her name from the scrolls, but it definitely was a process and that it was really hard for her to do so. She had to get attorneys involved, right? So Whitney says not removing your name from the scroll only shows how you continue to support them, because when they try to get certain grants, money, whatever the case is, you're still a person on their list. You're still a head count that they're able to present and say, hey, we need X, Y, Z, da, whatever. And they still consider you in that number. Therefore, it continues to, feed the, give the money and all this other stuff. So then Heather says that she is already on their radar because she is trying to write this book. And because she's trying to write it, they filed a trademark objection against her. All right. Which is preventing her from really moving forward on the book. So I feel like Heather's not trying to really put her name, on any documentation as for, well, I don't know what the hell Heather doing. I'm like, I was thinking she was afraid to put her name or have her name removed from the scroll because of what may come with that. They may make it even more harder than what they did for Whitney, and ain't no telling what may happen and how it may affect her kids or something, right? But I honestly don't know. I'm like, well, maybe you should have filed to have your name removed before you filed for a trademark. You should have filed to be removed as a Mormon before you filed for a trademark, right? Whitney does know that it's a struggle for Heather to get her name off that list. And she's like, but Heather's like, if you know that, then why the fuck you over here trying to judge me if you know how hard it is? Like, that's whack as hell, which it is. Like, it is whack, okay? It is whack. But also at the same time, I see both of y'all's points. I see where Whitney's coming from. Like, I mean, that doesn't make sense. Like, why would you do that? You file, instead of filing to remove your name, you filed for a trademark. Therefore, you got knocked out, right? But Whitney, you were wrong for talking bad about your friend, your quote unquote cousin, to other people. Like, you was just wrong for that, right? And you've done that more than one time so far. Then Heather, at the same time, it doesn't really make sense. Just like when we talk about who the hell hit you in your eye, you still ain't trying to say that, and then you giving us these theories. So, girl, I don't know what y'all got going on. I knew y'all kumbaya moment wasn't gonna last long though. But Whitney starts crying about how hard it was for her to lead a church. And I'm over here like, what this got to do with you talking down on Heather, child? Like, we really don't give a fuck. We really do not care about how hard it was. You already told us this. Like, why is you crying in this moment when it's supposed to be about Heather, right? Then we get into this theory situation when it came down to the eye, because I think Whitney ended up bringing up the eye situation, right? So Heather says, one, she thinks a cabinet hit her. Two, they were so drunk that she could have got elbowed in the eye. She's not saying anything, okay? Gizelle is believing it's Jen Shaw. I'm wondering, is it Jen Shaw that did it too? But then at the same time, I'm like, or are you protecting somebody else? that could have been so drunk they didn't even know that they did it, but you remembered. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know. I wonder, like, who else was it outside of Jen? Because I'm like, if it wasn't Jen, then who did it? Now Whitney tells her the story of how they were all drunk, and Porsha's like, Whitney, what does that have to do with anything? You sit up here and you're trying to make it seem like it's Jen Shaw's fault, like you know for a fact that she hit this lady in the eye, only to find out that y'all was drunk the whole time, so y'all really don't know who the hell did what. For real, for real? I'm like, yeah, that is kind of true. She just don't like Jen and wants Jen to just go down for everything. And I'm over here like, hell, Whitney, did you hit her in the eye and you were so drunk that you don't remember? Girl, and then Heather, what's the big deal about keeping it such a secret? Hopefully that secret comes out next season now that Jen Shaw is locked up. I'm sure they're not going to go and put additional charges on her. Like, girl, it is what it is. But who knows, all right? Let's keep going. Whitney was going to show Gizelle and Porsha the pictures of the black eye. So she was going to get into the pictures of the black eye, but Heather started calling her out about that, like that's messed up, like that's foul. And she's literally over there trying to debate with the ladies. Like, this is literally Whitney like, I don't know, guys, should I show it? And Porsha said, well, girl, I'm not going to beg you now. Meanwhile, Giselle's like, I want to see it. I want a girl show me, you know. But I think the result was she didn't show her. I think Marisol told her, like, if you, like, care about your cousin or whatever the case is, like, just leave that alone. And I was really with Marisol. Like, if y'all want to see it, girl, they can Google it for themselves. Like, girl, you ain't got to be the one to show them. Let them Google it. They'll figure it out. Anywho, when they were all sitting outside, Candiace opens up with the ladies about, because first of all, Heather was, you know, clowning Whitney for being a people pleaser and all this and that. And Candiace was, you know, and Gizelle and them eating it up or whatever. And when she talked about that, that's when Candiace kind of goes into, like, that's what Gizelle do. Gizelle do anything for camera time type bullshit, whatever. So she starts going in on Gizelle and her character or whatever, and how she made the accusations about her husband. Now Leah was upset because Leah said, wait a minute, she just, you know, accused your husband of SA. So you mean to tell me she's over here complaining about me saying that I'm bored with somebody's story, meanwhile she's hurling accusations about somebody? So Leah takes the story back to Gizelle, but she puts it on 10 and says, you're accusing people of SA, how dare you? But you over here, you know, were upset with me about what it is that I said. So Gizelle was like, I did not say SA. That's not what I said. I did not say SA. And then when Candiace was like, yeah, but you implied something like inappropriate behavior. Like, that's what you did. You said this and that. Da, 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 da. So as she was running through everything with Gizelle, like, Candiace was like, you said this, you said that, or whatever. However Gizelle and Candiace were running through the story, Gizelle results to, I don't want to talk about it. Like, we're not going to talk about it. Nope, not doing it. That pissed me the fuck off, because this is the shit that Candiace was talking about, like episode 1 or 2, where you said people can ask you questions, but when they start asking you questions, you get them dry ass answers or whatever the case is, or you just ultimately shut them the fuck down. And that's what you did with Candiace when it's time for y'all to talk. But it's okay for you to bring up conversations or bring up situations that happen on Salt Lake City and on Miami, but when it's time for them to discuss the shit that you've said on your own show, you don't want to fucking talk about it. And I just find that to be so fucking funny. So funny. You just told them they can ask questions, but really not funny, not so funny, because what else do we expect from Gizelle? We already know we'll begin with her. We already know, like, what the hell it is, but I just think that's so whack. But whatever. So, what else happened? So Candiace tells Gizelle she planted a small mustard seed to make it seem like her husband was trying to do something inappropriate. Okay. And Leah was like, girl, you crucified me about being bored, but you trying to ruin a man's life. Period. Listen, Candiace calls Gizelle a lying, it's BITCH. And I definitely was like, and that's exactly what she is. Now, on the bus ride home, girl, I believe Whitney was trying to talk to Heather. Heather didn't give not one simple fuck. Heather was ignoring the shit out of her, so they're going to continue to have issues. Miss Candice over there having a conversation with Leah, trying to, let her know, like, girl, just take Gizelle with a grain of salt. Like, she's just a bitter old woman. Like, that's just what it's giving. When it comes to Porsha, she's like, you better check her ass. Like, Porsha needs to have her ass checked. Okay, according to Miss Candice, she said she needs to know that she can't like handle you like that, okay, or run you out of room or anything. So check her ass accordingly, and still expect her to be a messy bitch, because that right there is just what it is and what it's giving. Okay, so girl, yeah. That was the episode. It was definitely cute. Looking forward to next week's episode. Y'all get down in the comments. Let me know how you feeling about Real Housewives Ultimate Girls Trip, okay? Because it's good to me. That's all I got. I'm Jamie. That's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. So follow me on Instagram and Twitter at JamiThatsMe. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.